My presentation will be very simple. It will not be long. There's a single message in it. You have to do pre-visualization because it will make your films 100% better. I will talk more than show, in fact. I would like to show you benefits of pre-visualization in general, and I will use certain examples that were developed in our company. Well, we have great experience in short films, mostly in short films, and most of you have done it or are preparing for a short filmmaking. But apart from what I'm talking about here, we have to remember that short films, what I say here about short films, it can be taken word for word and translated into full-length things. I remember when we met for an interview with Sławomir and we started talking about pre-visualization in general. And I have to tell you, I'm a student of animations and I'm really puzzled. And in small film productions, those that Sławomir talked about, that in them pre-visualization is not used. In animation, it's unacceptable. Production of an animated film without pre-visualization is just undoable. It's a must. The film is too much of an architecture to work on the film by yourself. The film, by assumption, is a team effort. And in fact, what pre-visualization is? Pre-visualization, above all, is a sketch, a drawing used for communication. In a way, it's an extension of the film director's tube or a communication media with all the departments that he or she cooperates with. Thanks to pre-visualization, you can get a lot. I mean, production-wise, implementation-wise, I'll talk about it in great detail in a moment. And what is more, I have said it already, pre-visualization in animation is the key. Before you start doing your stuff, you have to know how the take should look like, what should be within the frame. So these are the fundamental issues. I have mentioned roughly I have mentioned these industries in which pre-visualization is used, so film, animation, advertisement, theatre, music, concerts, architecture, computer games. Yes, pre-visualization is used in film, and in film, this is mostly, well, I'll show it in a moment. So this is mostly pre-visualization with which we can cut down the budget, with which we can communicate with different departments. In animation and advertisement, this is the starting point. You won't make any advertisement, and we basically live on the advertisement. You won't start any advertisement production without pre-visualization, because initially the customer has to know, apart from storyboards, apart from the script, you know, we all know it, that these tools are not enough for communication. The client may think that they see it this way, but we see it in an absolutely different way. Every advertisement project starts with a pre-visualization. In a theatre also. In theatre, pre-visualization is used as well. And it is especially true when we have certain activities, when very often now in theatre it's very often used when we have interactivity between the actor and certain characters that are created. And there is Digital Domain company that has created a concert of Tupac, obviously. He's no longer alive, but his concert was made based on previsualization. Before the concert was made, it's like in a film, lots and lots of things were prepared. There was a whole process on how Tupac should move on stage, what he should do. So the whole art behind it was prepared long time before the concert. So I would encourage you to watch it. It's an incredible project to come to a concert to somebody who's long dead, and they made it in such a way that, well, it's an absolutely new dimension, I would say, new dimension of concert making. It's more of a requiem for the artist. I think Michael Jackson will benefit a lot now. To have 20 or 40 concerts with previsualization. In architecture, the same is true, and computer games. You all can see it. Computer games are developing rapidly, and now a computer game is really like a film that you step into, and basically they never start production without previsualization. They don't start production if they don't have previsualization. And I will start talking about benefits because so much has already been said by Sławomir. So much about previsualization has been covered. The process of filmmaking requires team effort, and it's really most adorable but also most difficult thing. We start making a film. The film is most important, and we gather experiences, and previsualization in fact is a spirit. Well, I will use this term, a spirit that links the whole film production, and thanks to previsualization by itself we can start cooperation, we can plan the production, and obviously exploration of the subject itself, because during previsualization you may say previsualization requires creativity. This is the first element in filmmaking. The director, the film director and the cameraman, they haven't seen the film yet. It exists in storyboards, but when you start moving things, when you have dialogues, then it turns into a vivid organism. And I can give you an example. With previsualization you can economize of half an hour. I'm talking about animations now. Half an hour of animation is really a lot. This is around a year of work sometimes. And thanks to previsualization you can really reduce the working time. Half an hour of a film. Obviously communication and the efficiency of production that knows from the very beginning what they are doing. Right from the beginning we know how the film would look like, and we know, well, sometimes you can see the pre-visualization and you may say whether you want to be involved or not, because then again you can see whether it's going to be a good project or a bad project. No, doesn't work? No, it doesn't work. Could we have the next slide if there's anybody upstairs? I'll continue with the benefits of previsualization. Well, as I have said, there are benefits for both the producer and the manager, and it concerns the whole planning, in fact. The producer can economize and they can reduce their expenses. There was a situation, I will tell you something about the story of previsualization now, but one of precursors was Francis Polo, and he's a very meticulous film director, and he wants to know exactly before the execution. He wants to know whether the film will tell the story or not, whether he will produce what he really wants. And Francis Ford Coppola, with his first films especially, made a lot of storyboards that were very detailed. One take usually consisted of 4 or 5 frames, and additionally he recorded hours with actors. These were really like radio programs, and he merged all these things even before the execution. And many producers that worked with him said that, thanks God, Coppola had this idea, because it was really thousands of stage decorations and hundreds of hours of work. They sort of could see how the film should look like, what they should do, how much should be constructed on stage as decoration. He was really one of the precursors of visualization. In a short film, well, in general, in a film, every production is limited somehow. It is limited with the budget, with the time. When you start filming, you have to remember right from the beginning about your limitations. So all the elements, well, previsualization can show you what limitations you have. You can see where you can gain and where you can lose during your film production. And well, as I already have said before, this is a communication tool. It helps, develops creativity. It's a creative process all the time. I mean, the process of making something, it's the very first process of making your film, and perhaps it's the most important one. After pre-visualizations, it's true with animations. Sometimes all you have to do is just to do it. You already know how it would look like. And it's a bit different in case of the visual effects, special effects. As for the Previsualization Society, there are companies that specialize in previsualization for mainstream movies. And because we start doing previsualization of special effects, sometimes the film director can be convinced to do certain things. The film director can be afraid of things. They are always afraid of things when they start the production. And with the pre-visualization of film effects, you can convince the film director to accept takes that he or she finds impossible if he believes that with this budget, or just in general, such a thing is undoable. You can prove otherwise. And here, just a couple of examples. These are 3 names of people that used previsualization, well, basically big precursors, because Alfred Hitchcock, he is a person who had to, in producing his own film, everything had to be perfect. And for example, while making Psychosis or Birds, for the first 3 months he cooperated with storyboard makers and simply shot by shot. And really, if you could see storyboards to Psychosis, you may have an animation made out of it and it would be smooth. There were so many animations made for every single take that a very beautiful animation could be made out of it. And Walt Disney, I said already that animation is the mother of previsualization. So Walt Disney, in the production of any animation, tried to use and animate the storyboards made. And well, you talked about Cinebus. Francis Ford Coppola was also a precursor of such a Cinebus. It was called Silverfish. It was a long tube, a bus, and it was also a part of previsualization, because at the time when he invested this, just to cut down the budget and economize in production. And at that time, you didn't have the same potential. You had no digital cameras, you had regular cameras, and he put this editing room in the bus, and from the editing room there was a direct connection to the cameraman, and over operator's camera there was another camera recording analog picture of everything that happened on a stage. And before all the films were developed, he already knew whether it was good or bad. And in the very same way, he managed to economize greatly. And it has been said here as well. So this is in fact, I don't know whether you can feel it. However, in the post-production and in advertisement, we do feel that we have a financial crisis. And viewers, they really want bigger and bigger productions. They have higher and higher expectations. And everybody is thinking just like Sławomir here when he's talking about his method of previsualization and changing the production methods. So in the same way, everybody is thinking how to optimize the budget, what to do to use the money correctly so that we could see the effect in the screen. And now I would like to give you some examples. Well, as for the production side, apart from being director of animated films, in my company internally we also produce short films, and I'm responsible for project development as well in the company. So really I want to encourage you, the money is the most important thing in production planning. Without money you cannot make any film at all. And well, we had this situation using previsualization in fundraising. Well, now we are a producer of an animated serial film for adults, and the market of such films does not exist in Poland. It's rather supposed to be targeted for European or world market, and we got to the Curtain Forum. It's the biggest forum for animated films. You pitch your projects there, and if there are producers in the room, just like you, if anybody likes the idea, then they can get involved in the production. Right after our pitching, well, alright, I should say, area before Curtain Forum, well, obviously we have no budget at all. So the series film, it's being developed, yes, and the series is financed by ourselves internally. We really want it to be made. We believe it's a good thing. However, first of all, we realized we had to have previews of each part. Every part takes 10 minutes. And my colleague, well, the first part was a story of a couple, and my colleague, together with another colleague, they did voiceover. It was English dubbing, and previsualization was done on the basis of storyboards. 10 minutes of previsualization, and the production itself took 2 days. After Curtain Forum, well, obviously we had 30-second trailer, and it showed the aura of the film, but it didn't say too much of the film itself. After the presentation, we met the representative of Channel 4, and she likes the film director very much. The film director, the main film director in this project. And she said, okay, cool stuff, cool characters, the script I've got, I can read it, I see. But basically, tell me something more about it, how it's going to look like, how the story shall develop. Serial film for adults, so it's mostly based on text, not too much happens. And we said, we have this pre-visualization. It's a draft indeed. And we made it out of storyboards. And she said, all right, show it. And she showed it to her. And now, basically, they liked the idea so much that we are doing for them. We are changing it into full length. In Channel 4, they are an incredible unit. They are able to do incredible things with projects. So a very simple, banal pre-visualization, just a text and some pictures. We got an incredible effect. We got more than we wanted. We didn't expect that much. And well, obviously, pre-visualization is also a way to, just now it's very popular, crowdfunding, yes? Everybody's searching for money for films, and crowdfunding is another form to search for co-producers, for the project itself to become more media friendly or more noticeable, and show your pre-visualization through crowdfunding. It's just very natural, and I would really encourage you to do it. Please think about it when you are searching for the money. With pre-visualization, you can plan, especially if you have special effects, and this is, as I have said, this is very important. It is very important when half of your film, it is special effects. So then to support it with pre-visualization is the key. And the whole department then can really know what shall be in the frame, what they have to work upon. Visual effects are very expensive in general. And if the supervisor on special effects doesn't know, cannot see the film before, and is not in the know, they should do so. It very often happens that the whole city is constructed in 3D, and it turns out what we needed was just a little part of it. So this is all stupid, but you have to plan your budget in communication with other departments based on the previsualization. So just like the cinebus, yes? In the very same way, just like the cinebus was made with interdepartmental communication, every film in fact should be made in the very same way. And previsualization is just an element in negotiations. It's very important. With previsualization, if you have co-producer, if you don't finance the film yourself, if you just get the money and you want to achieve something, you want to have an effect, but you don't have the previsualization, then it is just one of the most elements in business negotiations. And now, I would like to talk about the execution. Well, when you read then you learn that it's most difficult to explain what the film director wants to do. And we were always taught, if your film idea cannot be described in 3 or 4 sentences, it means that you have a shit, not an idea of a film. That it's true to some extent. I mean, the school teaches a systematic approach and teaches you how to synthesize your concept, and pre-visualization is in fact, I'm afraid I'm using this word far too often. I think pre-visualization will show you, above all, will show to you yourself what you want to do. And you can do it even using your mobile phone. We did it in school quite often before an animatic was made. Well, in animation, the word pre-visualization is substituted with animatics. So in the school, very often we made such pre-visualizations, and often they were based, well, you will see how they looked like in a moment in one of the films that most of you must have seen. So such pre-visualizations were made for this film. Well, obviously I will also show you different forms of pre-visualization, because if you have a lot of money, it can be really high class. If you have less money, it can be very simple but equally efficient. And quite often, visual effects use such pre-visualizations for technical planning. So simply, we know, above all, what scenery is to be used, what objects we are going to apply, and what should be the height of the camera. And we can also know what areas we have to illuminate. So it is also a very important element for, say, a technical review of the whole film. With this, you can, and it has been said here already, you can take as much equipment on a set as you will need for your work. And very often, pre-visualization is used as a viewer's test. So with bigger productions, before you start making your film, you prepare pre-visualization to see whether the audience will digest it or not. And as I've said already, it can also be a tool to convince the director to use specific tools in the film. And we are also able to determine, well, I have an example here. I produced recently a diploma film of Tomek, and this film, 15 minutes long, we applied to piece, and later on Tomek thought he would turn it into 40 minutes. So we basically we were bewildered, and we said, look, for the producer, 40 minutes of a film, okay, I don't care, let's do it. However, for short film, as you may know, such a film will not exist. It will never make it to any festival. Nobody will take it because it's too long, and festivals of short films, as for animated films, this must not be more than 15 minutes to do anything with the film there. So for a short film, 40 minutes would be a killer. And I said, all right, let's have previsualization first. We sat down, and at the time when we put the 40 minutes together, then Tomek said he would never make such a film. He said it's shit. And we shortened it. We started reducing it scene by scene, and we turned it down to 15 minutes. So now we would like to show you some films, and well, please don't judge them based on the quality. The quality is hopeless, but that's not the point. The point is we have to see, well, most of you must have seen this film, so most probably you will recognize what it is, but this is how previsualization of very big mainstream films looked like. You will not hear any sound. But please imagine, really, George Lucas, when he did Star Wars, he had to see certain scenes before, and it was incredible. Now when you look at it, it's ridiculous, yes? It's funny. However, it was that serious in such production, because it was just incredible. For these shots, a lipstick camera was made. Well, now everybody would have a lipstick camera. However, at that time, it was made on purpose just for pre-visualization for the film. They made a minute camera so that the actors could run around with the dolls, and all the miniature sets were made just to have a small budget. You wouldn't do pre-visualization with big scenery, so that's just an example. Yes, it's an actual pre-visualization of Star Wars, yes. So this is how it looked like before. Now it looks different, and I'll show you in a moment. Don't look at the quality either. And I just wanted to show you more mainstream examples. And in internet I also found this example. Well, here you do have the sound. You have to notice it. I talked about the technical side of the film. Here you can see the use of the lens for the shot, and there on the left you have camera parameters, so the angles of the camera, and obviously the length of each shot. And here also you can see the name of each animator, that made this shot. And as you can see, most of the takes, many of them, you don't have any special effects in them. Well, yes, surely. However, very often this is basically the previsualization. This is how they look like in case of most mainstream films. This is how they are made. And in general, Spielberg already before, well, this is also a very good example indeed, because us, when we make one of our short films, very often with the film director, we used, for our previsualization, we took some films that existed already, films on World War II. We made this film from the History Museum, the Museum of the History of the Second World War, and there you had to tell a story with a specific character. However, for the previsualization itself, just to feel the style of the film, we used scenes from films that had been made before, and we do it very often. Spielberg is doing it in his films. He uses archive material, say films from World War II, just to show certain scenes in his pre-visualization. Obviously later on a set things are changed. However, he did it to be able to see how the scene would develop. And I think now you can show another one. Well, here I wanted to show you such an exercise. Well, it's not an exercise, it's a short film of a cameraman, and there are many cameramen here in the room. So the pre-visualization that you see on the left is a terribly simple method, yes? And tomorrow during the workshop, I would like to talk to those that are interested. I would like to show you how it can be done in a simple way with a simple 3D Studio Max software. Perhaps you have never used 3D programs, however, for such a pre-visualization you really don't need any specialist knowledge. And here it is really one-to-one, the animatic and the actual film. And basically, as you can see, there's no animation. It's just linear movement of the characters. They appear, they turn. It's banal. However, please see how little, in fact, the final film deviated from the initial concept. Well, yes, I think we can stop it. This is, yes, I also wanted to say it. Pre-visualization of such a film in general will take 4 days. If you are really efficient in using certain simple tools. Rafał, what do you think? Yes. And there's no scenery in the film. Just like here, you just have some boxes. However, still you know where you are, yes? 4 days of work. And you can really reduce your working time a lot. This is a film that I have mentioned already. Siganog, Tomek, Pula that we produced recently, and I wanted to show you roughly. Well, obviously, if you have never worked with 3D software before, you can show it already. If you have never done anything, here on the left you see the animatic, and on the right you have the end effect. And if you are not efficient in using 3D programs, then very often you can just take a camera, you can take a phone, and you can make your pre-visualization based on, yes, the one on the left was done with a mobile phone, and it was superb because we went with the sound director. We went for a research, and it was a great experience because the sound director, it is really important, the sound director himself already could know, thanks to pre-visualization, because we edited just on the spot instantly, and he already knew what he needed. He didn't have to go there 5 times just to, I don't know, so if the film director imagined the sound of the water, so he prepares different waters. Yes, he had a certain vision with the pre-visualization. He knows how the sound should be modeled, and he can do it within 2 days. And it's real economy, real-time economy. Yes, we've got it. The pre-visualization technique can be implemented in any creative process associated with the picture, and each of us uses digital tools. We all have a tool in our pocket, so I would encourage to use these tools even before you start planning your production. And it has been said here already, and perhaps it will be repeated many times. However, I'm really puzzled such a model of work has not been applied in Poland. It's not applied in feature filmmaking. Me and my friends from the cameraman department. Well, here in Łódź, in our school, the camera men are taught animation or the camera operation techniques, and with animation very many colleagues could see our system of work, and they often came to us and said, all right, so let's have a pre-visualization before you start shooting. And it really helped them very much, because we used to sit down, and it wasn't really storyboards, but we made simple 3Ds, and we made 3D pre-visualization within 1 day, and after 1 day they already knew what film they were making. And I will really encourage you. It was my final slide. Thank you. Thank you, and please come tomorrow if you want. We will have a quick course on how you can make such a pre-visualization at 9, if I'm not wrong. 9? Yes, at 9. Microphone. Give him the microphone, please. Those that I demonstrated here, some of them were soundless. However, some of them did have the sound. And I'll tell you something more. It's also important, I think. If you would imagine Sigma film, it is very popular now in festivals. For a short film, the first screening is very important. It's really important what festival your film is screened on first. Fighting for Siggenord, I wanted Well, there are 5 most important festivals in Europe: Cannes, Venice, Berlin, Locarno, and Rotterdam. I'm talking about short films. And I was fighting for Berlinale, Berlin, and surely my fight was not really about signing DVD, sending it to Berlinale and hoping for a good answer. I just sent them the film that was still being produced, and I sent them the film with finished takes and pre-visualization as well. And surely it was out of the proper selection process, but they could see the film before, and they were very much satisfied. They were only afraid that we had quite little time before we completed production, between the production and the beginning of the festival, so they were afraid we will not finish on time. At the same time, I appealed to Rotterdam, and Rotterdam just took it instantly. For them, it didn't matter whether they could see the final picture or the final one with certain pre-visualization attached. They just read the story and they look and see that you had some cubes walking. Obviously, they know it's the main character. This is what you can infer from the story. And the first show was made in Rotterdam during the festival. And now, Vanessine, the main competition, this is a festival that's really the most important festival for animations in the world. And from Poland, there are only 2 films, Nord and my film. And I think I know that there's some resistance to show the pre-visualization to the selecting committees, but I think that they are already used to it. You don't have to convince me to what IJAK is teaching us, that basically you should not start making films if you haven't made your pre-visualization. However, from our point of view, it's rather a production document. You can plan your take, you can plan your set. We recently did a 3D film without pre-visualization. We wouldn't make it. However, I have certain doubts. We do work with customers that sometimes pay us for different things. And to be honest, we had a couple of moments when we were thinking, should we show them the pre-visualization or not? But from other point of view, it's a material for us. We were convinced, maybe it was wrong, but we were convinced that they would say, God, it's hopeless, and you have photos from feature films inserted. What for? The question is where it was it in Poland or was it abroad? In Poland, yes. It makes a difference. The Polish culture of pre-visualization, it's none. And it's not surprising that they, well, let's just say, it's like playing with cubes in the screen. No, I'm rather talking about, well, I gave you this example of Channel 4 representatives or some other important entities that will also give you some more important budgets. But you said something about crowdfunding. I would also seriously think whether something like that should be shown online. But basically, it's your decision. You can show just a bit. It's not really about showing the whole film. You're going to show a bit. And in this way, you will suggest how it would look like, how the story will be told. And pre-visualization it's not necessarily has to be as ugly as the one here. Your pre-visualization, as I said, can be done with a mobile phone, and it will be really attractive. Well, I know that not too many of you used 3D programs for pre-visualization, So I say, you are camera operator, so you should rather use operators tools. Anybody else? Thank you.